All right, today we're talking about an absolute giant of the programming world, a language that has been the backbone of countless industries for decades, and you know what? It's still a massive force to be reckoned with. We are talking about Java, the digital workhorse. Let's get into it. So, to kick things off, let me ask you a quick question. Just think about the apps on your Android phone for a second, or the super secure system your bank uses online, or even a huge game like Minecraft. What's the one thing that connects all of them?
You guessed it, the answer is Java. For more than 2 decades, this incredibly powerful programming language has been the silent, reliable engine running behind so much of the digital world we use every single day. But what is it that makes Java so special? Well, it really all boils down to one revolutionary idea that completely changed how we develop software. I'm talking about its run anywhere magic. The whole promise of Java is captured in this one amazing phrase: write once, run anywhere, or WORA for short. See, before Java came along, if you wrote a program for a Windows PC, you had to completely rewrite it from the ground up to get it to work on a Mac. It was a huge pain. Java came along and said, nope, we're done with that. It promised that a developer could write their code just one time, and that same code would run perfectly on any device.
So how in the world does it pull that off? It's this brilliant 3-step process. First, the developer writes their code in regular, human-readable Java. Simple enough. But then, and this is the key, the compiler doesn't turn it into machine-specific code. Instead, it creates something called bytecode. Think of bytecode as a universal, middleman language. Finally, that bytecode is executed by something called the Java Virtual Machine, or JVM. The JVM acts like a perfect translator, allowing that one set of instructions to be understood by any device, whether it's a massive supercomputer or the phone in your pocket. And this right here really shows you the difference. On the one hand, you have native code, which is totally tied to a specific system. It only speaks Windows or it only speaks Mac OS. But Java bytecode, it's universal. As long as a device has that JVM translator installed, it can run the code. This completely separated the software from the hardware, and let me tell you, that was an absolute game changer. Okay, so this run anywhere ability is huge, but how did that lead to Java becoming so dominant? Well, it's all about its core superpowers. These are the features that have made it a go-to choice for developers for decades. First up, Java is object-oriented. Now, instead of writing one long, messy script, Java organizes everything into clean, reusable objects. These objects bundle together data and the actions that can be performed on that data. A perfect analogy is a car blueprint. The blueprint defines everything a car is and what it can do. Then, every single car you build from that blueprint is an object. This approach makes really complex software way easier to design, manage, and fix. This whole object-oriented philosophy is really built on 4 main ideas, what people call the 4 pillars. First, there's encapsulation. That's like putting all the car's engine parts inside a protective case so you can't mess with them by accident. Then you have abstraction, which hides all the crazy complexity and just shows you the simple controls, like the steering wheel and pedals. Third is inheritance, which lets you build a new sports car model that inherits all the basic properties of the original car. And finally, there's polymorphism, which is a fancy word that just means the gas pedal can mean go fast in a car, but go even faster in a race car. It just adds a ton of flexibility. Next up, Java is incredibly secure. It was designed from the get-go for networked systems where security is everything. That JVM we talked about, it acts like a digital security guard. It has a bytecode verifier that checks for any shady code before it gets a chance to run, and a security manager that basically puts the program in a sandbox, preventing it from doing unsafe things like messing with files on your computer. This intense focus on security leads right into Java's next superpower: it's extremely robust. In programming, robust is just a way of saying it's really, really reliable. It has excellent error checking and memory management, which means it's great at catching problems before they cause a crash. This is exactly why it's trusted for mission-critical systems, like in banking, where you just can't afford to have things go wrong. Java is also a master of multitasking because it has built-in support for something called multithreading. This just means it can do multiple things at the same time. You can think of a master chef in a super busy kitchen. They're chopping veggies, stirring a pot, and plating a dish all at once. That ability to multitask is what makes apps feel so fast and responsive, and it's essential for things like web servers or complex video games. And finally, we get to one of the most beloved features of all: automatic memory management. In a lot of older languages, programmers had to manually keep track of every little piece of memory they used. If they forgot to clean up, it could cause memory leaks that would eventually crash the whole system. But Java has this amazing automatic housekeeper called the garbage collector. It just runs in the background, finds memory that's not being used anymore, and tidies it all up. It makes developers' lives so much easier and leads to much more stable programs.
So at this point you might be thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but isn't Java kinda old? And yeah, it's true. Java has been around for a while, but it is far from being a relic. It is constantly evolving to meet the needs of today's developers.
For instance, just look at this. Before Java 14, if you wanted to create a simple class just to hold a bit of data, like the coordinates of a point, you had to write a whole bunch of repetitive, clunky code. Now, you can do the whole thing in this one clean, simple line using a feature called record classes. So much better.
Or what about this one from Java 15? Sealed classes give developers incredible control over their code. Here, the programmer is saying, hey, in my program, the only kinds of shapes that are allowed to exist are circles and squares, nothing else. This makes the code way safer and more predictable. The point is, Java is not standing still. It's always getting better.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the big takeaways. First, Java's write once, run anywhere philosophy makes it one of the most versatile languages on the planet. Second, its core superpowers, like being secure, object-oriented, and robust, are why the world's biggest companies trust it for their most important systems. Third, the massive community and libraries mean you're never starting from scratch. And finally, Java is a living, breathing language that is constantly adding modern features to stay at the top of its game.
From massive enterprise servers to the Android app in your hand, Java is still a fundamental skill for any serious developer. Its unique blend of power, stability, and versatility pretty much guarantees it's going to be a digital workhorse for many, many years to come. So the only question left is, are you ready to build the next big thing with it?